Hi, welcome to the Online Learning Center. I'm Coach Mark Evans. Our video series are about teaching you technique in swimming, cycling, and running. And we have 6 different video options for you, inclusive of swim, cycling, and running. We also have a workout whiteboard question and answer and a fitness series for you as well. Today's video is going to be about perceived exertion, and we're going to be talking about how to measure that in comparison to rating of perceived exertion and heart rate. I've been a strong advocate for perceived exertion for many years. Originally though, when heart rates first came out, I was interested and felt even then that, oh, well, maybe this is the best tool for monitoring intensity. And I shortly became aware that heart rate is a variable tool. It isn't an absolute indicator of intensity, although it is useful. But what I found was that there were a lot of misconceptions about how to use the monitor. And so I became drawn into more of the perception of intensity, how you perceptualize the intensity as it corresponds to the effort that you're giving. And what we'd like to talk about is how to modify, and what I've created is a moving bar of intensity. In fact, you can download an article off of my website at www.evanscoaching.com, and there's an article titled Moving Bar of Intensity for you to get a little more information, and actually the chart that goes along with it that I created to help you manage intensity and maintain your intensity on the basis of what your perceptual, your cerebral cortex is actually telling you what's going on. Heart rate is does not recognize when your glycogen is depleting. It does not recognize necessarily immediately the environmental conditions or the stress or the lack of sleep. It cannot measure your cardiac output, for example, immediately. And there's also cardiac drift that goes along with heart rate. Sometimes it can be up to 20 beats difference. RPE, or rating of perceived exertion, is almost an immediate response to the physical environmental demands. And you know, heart rate monitors are not worn by elite athletes in competition. So, I mean, some may, but in general, I haven't seen a lot of heart rate monitors on elite athletes. And I think there's a reason for that, is that what they want to do is go by on how they feel. For example, if you were to get tested on a VO2 max and establish a heart rate zone based on a given test, well, what if you raced and or trained and your heart rate or your cardiac output increased, so therefore your heart rate zones would probably go down as a result of that. So if you're not continually being tested, then what you may have, you may be training at a lower intensity than you would otherwise do if you were using perceived exertion. When we work with intensity, or I work with athletes, I want them to perceive the intensity and to be cognitively aware of how that intensity relates to the distance that they're going. And the moving bar of intensity is a simple process of asking yourself, can you maintain this intensity for a given period of time? Now, as an example, if you were running 100 meters and you were trying to get your best effort, you know, most of us are going to be probably under 15 seconds for 100 meters. 15 to 20 seconds. Well, it doesn't really matter the time. But the point is that you know the duration is only going to be less than 20 seconds. Some 10 seconds, some 11 seconds. The important point is that you know that the distance or the time is going to be around 20 seconds. In an Olympic distance triathlon or an Ironman triathlon, obviously the duration is longer. So your perception of intensity needs to be extended. And if I were to sprint 100 meters, I would continually ask myself, can I maintain this effort for another 1 or 2 seconds? And if that's correct, then I'm probably moving at the right intensity. For an Olympic distance triathlon, a good rule that I've found is to be continually asking yourself over and over again, can I hold this intensity for the next 2 minutes? Now let's just say, for example, the gun goes off and you start your swim and you're asking yourself, can I maintain this stroke rate and this respiratory rate for the next 2 minutes? If you answer yourself yes, then you're most likely going at the right pace. However, the moving bar is that you will ask yourself again in the next 5, in the next 10 seconds, can I hold this pace? And these cognitive thoughts, they last just a millisecond. It doesn't take a lot of time. So again, this moving bar, if you say 15 seconds from now that you can sustain that pace, then the bar is actually moved again for another 2-minute period. And you do this on and on and on throughout the race. You come up out of the water. A lot of times they're in lakes, so you'll have to go up a ramp. Can you sustain that effort for another 2 minutes? If you're going too fast through intensity, your respiratory rate, your perception rate, and of course your heart rate's going to go right through the ceiling. If you continually ask yourself, can I sustain this for the next 2 minutes? That means you'll keep yourself within your threshold and you'll be able to sustain a nice calm transition, yet moving at an intensity that's going to get you to the finish line at your shortest possible time. Same thing would be on the bike. You wouldn't want to sprint out of the transition area and all of a sudden redline and get into a situation where, I can't sustain this for the next 2 minutes. If you get into that kind of situation, then you're moving more into lactate, higher levels of lactate than you're probably wanting to welcome into your body, if you will. So make an effort to manage your intensity on the basis of duration and asking yourself, can I sustain this effort for the next X amount of time? And generally, Olympic distance was around 2 minutes. Half Ironman, I might ask myself, 2.5 to 3 minutes. Can I sustain this effort on this terrain at this given environment under these conditions of heat and stress, hydration, glucose, carbohydrate ingestion? Can I sustain this effort for X amount of period of time? And if you can continually ask yourself that over the course of the race, I think you'll have better races and not pay so much attention to heart rate. In fact, I don't recommend my athletes wear heart rate monitors in racing. In fact, I used to have an office full of heart rate monitors that I took away from athletes because I really want you to get a perceptual intensity, a perceptual cognitive understanding of what it is that you're feeling when you're racing and training, and that will correlate to a better performance overall. So I want to thank you for watching the Online Learning Center, hoping this tip will help you make every movement better than the last. I'm Coach Mark Evans. Thanks for watching.